Have you ever heard of a gift that costs you your life? Today, we re-diving deep into one of the most chilling legends I've ever come across, the story of the golden box of the Grey Lady. This isn't just another ghost story. It's a tale of greed, desperation, and a price that's far too high to pay. So grab your headphones, turn down the lights, and let's uncover the secrets of this haunted treasure. Our story begins in the misty, rolling hills of Scotland back in the late 17th century. In a grand but decaying castle lived the MacLeod clan, led by a proud but increasingly desperate laird named Alistair. Years of famine and poor harvests had left his family and his people on the brink of ruin. The once bustling halls of his castle grew silent and cold, and the faces of his tenants were etched with hunger and despair. Alistair, a man of pride, couldn't bear to see his legacy crumble into dust. He spent countless nights poring over old maps and family journals, searching for a solution, a miracle. And then he found it. Tucked away in a forgotten chest was the diary of his great-grandfather, which spoke of a legendary artifact, the Golden Box. According to the text, this wasn't just any box. It was said to be a gift from the Fae, the mystical beings of the forest, and it held the power to grant its owner unimaginable wealth. The diary described how the box would fill itself with gold coins overnight, enough to save a family, a clan, even a kingdom. But there was a catch. A dark and terrible warning scrawled in the margins. The box demanded a payment, a sacrifice, to replenish its magic. The diary didn't specify what that payment was, only that the cost was a piece of the soul. Dismissing the warning as old-world superstition, Alistair became obsessed. This box was his only hope. He followed the cryptic clues in the diary, which led him on a grueling journey deep into the ancient Caledonian forest. After days of searching, he found a hidden grotto behind a waterfall, just as the diary described. And there, sitting on a stone pedestal, was the box. It was smaller than he'd imagined, intricately carved from what looked like solid gold, glowing faintly in the dim light. It was beautiful, mesmerizing, and held the promise of salvation. Without a second thought, Alistair took the box and raced back to his castle. That night, with trembling hands, he placed it on his bedside table. He couldn't sleep, his heart pounding with a mixture of hope and anxiety. As the first rays of dawn broke through his window, he cautiously lifted the lid. He gasped. The box was overflowing with gleaming gold coins, more money than he had seen in his entire life. It was real. The legend was true. Over the next few weeks, Alistair's fortunes turned completely. He paid off his debts, bought food and supplies for his people, and began restoring his castle to its former glory. The clan celebrated their laird's incredible luck. The castle was filled with laughter and music once again. Alistair was hailed as a hero, the savior of the MacLeod clan. He felt powerful, invincible. He had outsmarted fate itself. But he was wrong. The prosperity came at a hidden cost. Alistair's wife, Alara, was a kind and gentle woman, loved by all for her compassionate heart. Shortly after the gold started appearing, she fell gravely ill with a mysterious sickness that no healer could diagnose. She grew pale and weak, her vibrant spirit dimming with each passing day. She began to speak of a recurring nightmare, a vision of a spectral woman cloaked in grey, who would stand at the foot of her bed, her eyes filled with an endless sorrow. Ilara said this grey lady was waiting for her. Alistair was consumed by guilt. He remembered the warning in the diary, a piece of the soul. Could this be the price? Was the box draining the very life from his beloved wife to create its gold? He tried to stop. He locked the box away, hoping to reverse the curse. But it was too late. The box's magic was already tied to his family. The moment he stopped using it, the gold vanished, and his family's old debts and hardships returned with a vengeance. Worse, Ilara's condition worsened dramatically. It seemed the box was now punishing him for his defiance. Faced with an impossible choice, let his entire clan starve or continue sacrificing his wife Alistair, made a desperate decision. He continued to open the box each morning, using the gold to keep his people fed, all while watching Ilara fade away. The laughter in the castle died down once more, replaced by hushed whispers and fearful glances. The laird was no longer a hero. He was a man haunted by his own choices. Ilara finally succumbed to her illness. Her last breath a soft sigh. On the night of her passing, the entire castle staff reported seeing a shimmering, translucent figure of a woman in a grey gown, weeping silently as she drifted through the castle halls before vanishing. Ilara had become the Grey Lady, her soul now bound to the castle, a sorrowful guardian born from a cursed treasure. Devastated and broken, Alistair took the golden box and returned to the grotto in the forest. He hurled it into the deep pool beneath the waterfall, vowing that no one would ever suffer its curse again. He returned to his castle a changed man, living out his days in solitude and mourning, forever haunted by the ghost of his beloved wife. For centuries, the story of the Golden Box and the Grey Lady of MacLeod Castle was passed down as a local legend, a cautionary tale against greed. The castle fell into ruin, and the box was thought to be lost forever. But a cursed object like this is never truly gone, is it? Fast forward to the early 20th century, a wealthy English industrialist named Arthur Peneligan bought the ruins of MacLeod Castle, intending to restore it as a lavish summer home. During the renovation, his workers were clearing the old well when they found something extraordinary, a small, intricately carved golden box, miraculously preserved. Arthur, a collector of rare artifacts, was ecstatic. He cleaned it up and displayed it proudly in his study, completely unaware of its dark history. Shortly after, strange things began to happen. Objects would move on their own, cold spots would appear in warm rooms, and the faint sound of a woman weeping could be heard at night. Arthur's wife, Beatrice, began having terrible nightmares. She described seeing a sad, spectral woman in a grey dress, who would plead with her in whispers to return the gift. Beatrice became frail and paranoid, her health deteriorating rapidly. Arthur, a man of science and logic, dismissed it all as nonsense. But one night, he was working late in his study when he saw her for himself. A pale, shimmering figure of a woman. The Grey Lady stood in the corner of the room, pointing a translucent finger towards the golden box on his mantle. Her eyes were filled with an agony that chilled him to the bone. In that moment, he understood. This was no ghost story. This was real. Terrified, Arthur sought out the local town historian, who told him the full legend of Laird Alistair and the cursed box. He realized he had made the same mistake. The box was feeding on his wife's life force. Determined not to suffer the same fate as Alistair, Arthur knew he had to get rid of it. But how? He couldn't simply throw it away for fear someone else would find it. The legend said it couldn't be destroyed by ordinary means. So he did something incredibly brave. Following the historian's advice, he took the box to a remote, windswept island off the coast, a place said to be a nexus of powerful ancient energies. There, he buried it deep within the earth, within a circle of standing stones, and had a priest perform a ritual to bind its dark magic to the land, hopefully for good. But Beatrice's health miraculously recovered, and they abandoned the castle immediately, never to return. And for nearly a century, the box remained buried, its malevolent power contained. But here's the unsettling part. The island where it is supposedly buried is now a popular tourist destination. No one knows the exact location of the box, and maybe that's for the best. But it makes you wonder, doesn't it? What would you do if you found it? If you were desperate, facing ruin, would you be tempted to open it just once? The golden box of the Grey Lady is more than just a haunted object. It's a terrifying test of character, a gift that offers you the world, but in exchange, it asks for everything that truly matters. Thank you so much for joining me on this chilling journey today. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next dive into the unknown. What do you think about the golden box? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Stay curious and stay safe.